Your body was designed to fail, not because you ate the wrong thing, not because you didn't exercise enough, not because you didn't meditate or stretch or hydrate or take the right supplements. Your body was designed architecturally, biologically, cellularly to break down. That's not a failure of discipline, that's the blueprint. And nobody talks about it honestly because there's a $5 trillion industry that needs you to believe otherwise. I'm Raphael St. James. This is Pillar Work. And today we're talking about the physical pillar, the one you live inside every second of every day, the one that's deteriorating while you listen to this, not to scare you, to free you from the lie that it shouldn't be. Here's what happens to the human body. Not if you're unhealthy, if you're alive. Your muscle mass starts declining at around age 30, 3 to 5% every decade if you're active, more if you're not. Your bone density peaks in your late 20s and starts its long descent. Your cartilage, the tissue that cushions your joints, doesn't regenerate. Once it's worn, it's worn. Your telomeres, the protective caps on your chromosomes, shorten with every cell division. Your cells replicate with increasing error. The copy degrades the copy. This isn't disease, this is design. Your intervertebral discs lose hydration starting in your 20s. Your synovial fluid, the fluid that lubricates every joint in your body, becomes less viscous over time. Your fascia stiffens, your recovery capacity decreases. The injury that took 2 weeks to heal at 20 takes 6 weeks at 40, 12 at 60. I know this clinically as a massage therapist and certified personal trainer, but I also know it the other way, the way most people know it, which is from the inside. I've had osteoarthritis since I was 7 years old. My body started teaching me about restriction before I had the vocabulary to describe what restriction was. At 594 Driggs Avenue in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, before gentrification turned that neighborhood into something unrecognizable, I was a kid whose joints hurt when other kids didn't. I didn't know why, I just knew my body was different. And here's what nobody told me then and what almost nobody tells you now. Everybody is on this trajectory. Mine just started earlier. The global wellness industry is worth over $5 trillion. $5 trillion. That number includes supplements, fitness programs, wellness apps, recovery devices, anti-aging treatments, functional foods, wearable trackers, biohacking protocols, and every variation of the message that says your body should be performing better than it is. And the entire machine runs on one premise, that health is purely a choice. If you just ate cleaner, if you just moved more, if you just slept better, tracked better, supplemented better, recovered better, breathed better, grounded better, cold plunged, saunaed, foam rolled, stretched, and optimized, then your body would perform the way it's supposed to. The implication is brutal and specific. If your body is failing, you did something wrong. What that message erases, genetics you didn't choose, predispositions encoded before birth, environmental exposures that happened before you had agency, socioeconomic access that determined whether you saw a doctor at 7 or 22, epigenetic inheritance, patterns written into your biology by your grandparents' stress responses. None of that is a choice. None of it responds to a supplement. The shame isn't an accident. The shame is the product, because the industry needs you to believe that your physical restriction is a personal failure. So you'll keep buying the next solution. I'm not saying don't exercise. I'm not saying don't eat well or sleep well or move your body. I'm saying stop confusing management with elimination. You can manage physical restriction. You cannot eliminate the fact that your body was built with an expiration date you never agreed to. When I was around 17 in the delayed entry program of the US Marines, I was ready. Mentally, physically, as far as I knew, I was ready. Special operations was my ideal path. That was the plan. During MEPS processing, which is the military entrance processing station, the gait analysis and physical testing flagged what they suspected was arthritis. That, combined with color vision deficiency, ended my military path before it began. I didn't get the official osteoarthritis diagnosis until my early 20s, but my body had been sending signals since I was 7. The system just wasn't designed to listen to a kid from Williamsburg whose joints hurt. What followed was not a clean recovery narrative. There's no moment where I conquered the condition. Osteoarthritis doesn't get conquered. The cartilage in my hips, my elbows, it doesn't come back. Loading weight on my joints in specific ranges of motion creates inflammation and accelerates deterioration. No amount of willpower or positive thinking changes that biological reality. What happened instead was stranger and more useful than a cure. I became a massage therapist at the same time I became a certified personal trainer. Over the years, I perused many continuing education courses in those fields while engaged in other fields. The last courses I studied in massage and personal training was functional range systems, which is a system built on the principle that your nervous system only grants access to ranges of motion it trusts you to control. Now, that's a layman term. I didn't study the body despite my condition. I studied it because of my condition. The restriction pointed me directly toward the education I needed, not to fix the joints, but to understand what they were trying to tell me. And here's what I discovered at the massage table and training stations working with clients over the years. I could feel things other therapists missed: subtle restrictions in joints, compensatory patterns, the way a body routes around damage and creates new problems in the process. I could feel these things because I had restrictions in my own body that were similar. I spoke about pain and limitation with precision because I wasn't describing textbook conditions. I was describing my Tuesday morning. The door that closed on my military aspirations opened another where my limitation became my qualification. Where that restricted me personally became what equipped me professionally. The pattern, restriction creating capacity that wouldn't exist without the restriction, that became the foundation of everything I teach now. The methodology is called synovial space, named for the fluid-filled space between your joints that determines how much movement is possible. Not the muscle, not the bone, the space between. Every human body carries physical restriction that was never chosen and cannot be fully reversed. Every aging joint is evidence. Every chronic condition is evidence. Every funeral is evidence. The question was never whether your body would deteriorate, it was always what you would do with the space that remains while it does. If you're pushing back right now, good. You should be. Here's what I think you might be thinking, and here's my honest response. But people are living longer than ever. They are. And living longer does not mean living without physical restriction. Extended lifespan often means extended decline. More years, more joint replacements, more medications managing conditions that can't be cured. Longevity without honest engagement with physical restriction is just a longer runway of avoidance. But exercise prevents disease. Exercise manages restriction. That's different from eliminating it. I train regularly. I move my body within its actual capacity every day. I'm also still losing cartilage. The fittest athletes on earth still age, still degrade, still perish. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools available for creating movement within physical restriction. It is not a cure for having a physical body. But a positive mindset heals the body. Mindset affects the experience of pain. It does not regenerate cartilage. It does not reverse telomere shortening. It does not rebuild bone density. Conflating mental outlook with physical reality creates a specific kind of cruelty. It produces shame when the body doesn't respond to optimism. The person with chronic pain who stays positive and still hurts is now dealing with both the pain and the guilt of having the wrong attitude about it. But modern medicine is advancing. It is, and I'm grateful for it. Joint replacement surgery is remarkable. Pain management has improved. Diagnostics are sharper. But even a replacement joint is managed restriction, an artificial component with its own lifespan, its own limitations, its own set of things you can and cannot do. Medicine extends the management. It doesn't change the fundamental architecture. None of these counterarguments are wrong. Exercise helps, medicine helps, mindset affects quality of life. I'm not dismissing any of it. I'm saying none of it changes the foundational reality that your body carries restrictions you never chose. And the industry built around those restrictions profits from making you feel like the restrictions are your fault. 8 billion people, every single one of them inside a body with a built in expiration date. Nobody chose the genetics, nobody chose the predispositions, nobody chose the environmental exposures of their first years of life, the air quality, the water quality, the nutritional access, the stress hormones circulating in their mother's bloodstream, trillions of dollars spent annually on an industry that exists in the gap between biological reality and cultural expectation. The message is everywhere. Your body should be better than it is, fitter, leaner, stronger, more energetic, less painful, more flexible, less aging. That message serves the industry. It does not serve the person standing in the mirror at 47 wondering why their shoulder won't rotate the way it did at 25. The person at 47 doesn't need a new supplement. They need an honest assessment of where they are right now, not where the industry says they should be. They need to know what movement is genuinely available in the body they actually have, not the body Instagram told them they should have maintained. That's the physical pillar, not the pursuit of a body that doesn't deteriorate, the honest engagement with a body that will. My osteoarthritis didn't just limit my movement. It created a massage therapist who could feel what other therapists couldn't. Pain became expertise. Limitation became credential. Managing chronic pain while building teams across Manhattan luxury properties in my management career taught me something I couldn't have learned without the restriction. It taught me that productivity doesn't require an absence of pain, it requires an honest relationship with your body's actual capacity. There's a concept in geology called differential compaction, which refers to how different materials compress at different rates under pressure, creating movement and space in unexpected places. In the body, the same principle applies. A small amount of space in the right joint creates system-wide movement. My hips could never do at what average hips with normal ranges of motion could do. My restriction forced me to develop movement patterns, body awareness, and pain management strategies that became the raw material for an entire methodology. The method didn't emerge despite my body, it emerged from my body. And that's the part the wellness industry can't sell you. It can sell you the idea that your body should be better. It can't sell you the truth that your body's restrictions might already be pointing you toward something the industry doesn't have on the shelf. I want to be clear about what this episode is not. This is not anti wellness. I train, I study movement, I built a professional life around understanding the human body. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, recovery, these matter deeply. This is not anti medicine. I'm grateful for the diagnosis that eventually confirmed what my body had been telling me for 15 years. I'm grateful for the management strategies that allow me to function. This is anti shame about biological reality. The physical pillar isn't about achieving a body that doesn't deteriorate. It's about creating honest, sustainable movement within a body that will. Knowing the difference between restrictions that are genuine, the biology, the genetics, the conditions you carry, and restrictions that are perceived, the shame, the comparison, the impossible standard you've absorbed from a culture that profits from your dissatisfaction. The genuine ones require respect and adaptation. The perceived ones dissolve when you stop believing them. I'm not your doctor. I'm I'm not your trainer. I'm not the person selling you a protocol promises that your body will stop being what it is. I'm an accountability partner, someone who stands next to you while you engage your physical reality honestly, without the shame, without the false promise. Your body has been trying to tell you something, probably for a long time. The question is whether you've been listening to your body or to the industry that profits from your frustration with it. This was pillar work on one dimension, your body, the vessel you live inside. But your body doesn't exist in isolation. The physical restriction you carry affects how you think, how you feel, how you relate to people, how you earn, how you connect to meaning. Every pillar touches every other pillar. That's why I wrote the book Synovial Space, A Guide to Dynamic Living, to map all 8 dimensions and show how creating movement in one creates ripple effects across the rest. If what you heard today resonated, if you recognized your own physical story in any part of this conversation, there's a free diagnostic at h2pcollective.com that maps where you actually are across all 8 dimensions. It takes 15 minutes, no sales pitch, just an honest picture of where movement is possible. Your body was designed to feel. It's not the end of the conversation. That's where the real conversation begins. This has been Pillar Work. I'm Raphael St. James.